But the big story that's breaking at the moment, at least 15 people have died after a landslide in Himachal's Bilaspur, the latest tragedy, even as rains continue to lash large parts of North India. The landslide debris fell on a bus carrying about 30 passengers in Himachal Pradesh's Bilaspur district. 3 people have been rescued. Search operations are still underway. It's the latest tragedy, as I said, that has befallen the Himalayan states in this cruel monsoon season. Joining me now is our reporter Aman Bhardwaj. He joins me with the very latest. Aman, a short while ago we were told 10 people have died. Now we are told the death toll has risen to 15. Can you bring us the latest updates, please?
Yes, Rajdeep. 15 people are dead now, and the rescue operation is on. And this 15 people includes the children, the women, and the men as well. And the teams from Himachal Pradesh Police, SEO, the disaster and state emergency operation teams are on the ground, and also the fire brigade teams are on the ground. JCB and big machines have been deployed for the rescue operation to remove the debris from the road. And the incident has taken place at 6:40 p.m. today evening near Bhalughat Tehsil Jandu Datta in Bilaspur. And on this, Himachal's Chief Minister has also assured the full support. Himachal's Deputy Chief Minister Mukesh Agnihotri has assured that full assistance, whether the medical or sort of any financial support, will be given to the victims. And also JP Nadda has recently reacted over the situation because he himself belongs to the same district, Bilaspur, and many politicians or people from Himachal are reacting over it, and they are in support. And this is due to the a landslide that has taken place after the rain, and there were rains in the region from last 3 days. If we say 48 to 72 hours were orange alert and red alert were issued in the region, and that is the reason that heavy rain has shifted the mountain and soil from the upside of the hills to the road, which has created a landslide. And this private bus has is being targeted by that landslide. Heavy rocks and soil
so it
from
was
the
it was a private bus, and at least 15 people are feared dead. Remember, there were 30 people on board. Aman Bhardwaj with those details. Appreciate you joining me. I want to turn to some more breaking news at this moment that's coming in. The death toll has risen due to the cough syrup, the toxic killer cough syrup in Madhya Pradesh now. We are now told that the death toll is up to 16 young children who have died in these cough syrup deaths. This is turning out to be a horrific tragedy in Madhya Pradesh. The Gujarat FDA has now inspected 2 Gujarat-based pharma firms as well, and found that the DG-laced cough syrups, the toxic which was brought into this cough syrup, is being checked there as well. Retailers and distributors now being told to prohibit the sale of these cough syrups immediately. Remember, a common cough syrup, cold Riff, has turned killer and has sent shockwaves across the nation. At least 16 people now dead in Madhya Pradesh. At the heart of this tragedy is a pharmaceutical firm that's located in Tamil Nadu's Kanchipuram district. It's a facility riddled with violations, operating in shocking conditions. Our correspondent Anaga brings you this exclusive report, as today we intend to rip apart the reality of the killer cough syrup. Take a look.
This is the manufacturing unit of Srisan Pharmaceuticals, the company that sells cough syrup Cold Riff, held allegedly responsible for 14 child deaths in Madhya Pradesh. The plant in Kanchipuram, located right off the highway, makes for a sorry picture. Partly housed in a tin shed, the unit is a violation on several norms.
Just take a look at how unhygienic this whole area is. It's completely ill-maintained, not given attention to at all. Just the kind of unhygienic atmosphere that we are reporting from. In fact, as I report, I can actually feel and smell the stench that's emanating out of this place. In fact, one of the key observations of the report was how the manufactured cough syrups were placed openly in the corridors of this place, which is very close to the highway.
An inspection of the plant by Tamil Nadu government led to a 26-page report detailing 350 violations. The company, which allegedly sold a syrup adulterated with diethylene glycol unfit for human consumption, the government report says does not have a quality assurance department or employees to do that job at the unit. No pest control, no waste management, no proper testing of water. The report found the plant lacking basic facilities, qualified staff, and proper procedures to ensure product safety.
We're reporting from the backside of the killer plant to just give you a glimpse of where the waste gets dumped. This is one of the containers where it's clearly written here, the waste tablets container. It's just openly dumped here. In fact, there are also fillers over here, the drip which is used to drip the cough syrup. It's just openly placed over here. Of course, these are all waste, but just imagine the amount of chemical emanation from this particular spot.
पेपर ऊपर है तो थोड़ा भैंस भी आता है तो इधर जला देता है, यही बात है
ऐसे ही ओपन में जला देते हैं
ना, ओपन में जलाता है.
The Tamil Nadu Drugs Control Department has issued a show cause notice to Srisan Pharmaceuticals, directing the company to furnish key details within 5 days. The deaths in Chhindwara have triggered a nationwide alert. Apart from Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu have also banned the sale and use of cold Riff syrup. From contaminated ingredients to unchecked suppliers, a trail of negligence that has turned a common medicine into lethal poison. With Anagha Keshav, with Ravishmal Singh, Bureau Report, India Today.
And my first guest is from Chhindwara, the mother of 3 years and 11-month-old Usaid, who tragically passed away after consuming this cough syrup. I am joined by Afsana ji. नमस्कार अफसाना जी, पहले मेरी तरफ से, हमारी पूरी टीम और दर्शकों की तरफ से हम जानते हैं कि आपको जो आप पर जो बीत रही है, हमारी तरफ से पूरी तरह से सहानुभूति मैम. लेकिन मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं. जो हुआ है पिछले हफ्तों से, आप हमें बताइए, क्या आपने अपने बेटे को जो कॉफ सिरप पिलाई वो डॉक्टर के रिकमेंडेशन पर थी, और क्या हुआ था आपके बेटे को उस समय मैम?
जी, हमने डॉक्टर के रिकमेंड पर ये पिलाई थी उसे कफ सिरप.
और उसे क्या हुआ था मैम जब आपको ये कॉफ सिरप, जब आप उनके डॉक्टर के पास गई, क्या किस तरह के उनको किस तरह की बीमारी थी आपके बेटे को?
जी, मेरे बेटे को बीमारी नहीं थी, सिर्फ फीवर आया हुआ था, इसलिए मैं डॉक्टर के पास ले गई थी. उन्होंने कफ सिरप दिया हुआ था, कोल्ड ड्रिफ नाम का सिरप है, तो मैंने 3-4 दिन उसी को पिलाई थी. जी. फिर उसके बाद में उसका फीवर तो उतर गया, लेकिन हाथ पैर में सूजन आ गई और यूरिन रुक गया.
फिर क्या हुआ?
डॉक्टर ने कहा कि इसकी कंडीशन ज्यादा गंभीर लग रही है, बोले आप इसे सिटी हॉस्पिटल लेके जाइए. तो मैंने इसे छिंदवाड़ा के सिटी हॉस्पिटल ले गई थी, सरकारी. फिर वहां हमें इलाज समझ में नहीं आया तो हम उसे नागपुर लेके चले गए.
आपने किसी वहां नागपुर में किसी बड़े डॉक्टर को दिखाया, क्या कहा उन्होंने?
जी, फिर मैं छिंदवाड़ा के बाद मेट्रो हॉस्पिटल लेके गई थी उसे, जहां उसका टेस्ट हुआ था. 3-4 टेस्ट थे और किडनी का भी टेस्ट लिखा हुआ था. तो हमने किडनी का टेस्ट करवाया, सोनोग्राफी करवाई, तो पता चला कि उसकी दोनों किडनियां खराब हो चुकी है.
इसके पहले आपके बेटे को इस तरह की कोई बीमारी नहीं थी?
जी नहीं, वो बहुत हेल्दी बच्चा था, उसके किसी भी तरह की बीमारी नहीं थी, बहुत कम बीमार पड़ता था, उसे फीवर भी बहुत कम आता था. वो
डॉक्टर जो है वो अरेस्ट हुए हैं छिंदवाड़ा में, लेकिन जिस कंपनी ने ये ड्रग बनाया, ये कॉफ सिरप बनाया, उन पर अभी तक कोई कार्रवाई नहीं हुई. किस तरह से आप देखते हैं? क्या आप चाहते हैं आपके बेटे को, जिस तरह से एक तरह से आपके बेटे की मौत हुई, क्या आप न्याय चाहते हैं?
जी देखिए, पहली बात है कि एक मेरे ही बेटे की नहीं हुई, यहाँ 14 से 16 बच्चों की मौत हो चुकी है सिर्फ वो सिरप के कारण. तो मैं तो यही चाहूंगी कि कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई की जाए, उन्हें सजा मिलनी चाहिए. तो सीधे सीधे पॉइजन दिया गया हमारे बच्चे को, जहर दिया गया, जो कि हम खुद अपने हाथों से मेरे बच्चे को देते गए इतने दिनों से.
जी। मैं आपसे ये पूछूंगा, मैं जानता हूं कि आपके बच्चे का बर्थडे था 10 तारीख को, 2-3 दिनों में उनका बर्थडे भी था। क्या कहेंगे आप देश को, क्या कहेंगे जनता को, क्या कहेंगे कि जैसे आप कह रहे हैं कि आपने अपने हाथों से कॉफ सिरप दिया अपने बेटे को, लेकिन वो जहर निकला, क्या कहेंगे आज?
जहर ही था वो। धीरे धीरे मैं अपने बच्चे को डेली देते जा रही थी, मुझे नहीं मालूम था कि वो जहर है। अगर मुझे ऐसा मालूम रहता तो मैं शायद नहीं देती। किसी ने नहीं जाना था कि दवा के नाम पे वो जहर है।
आप अपने आप को दोष दे रही हैं, डॉक्टर को दोष दे रही हैं, ड्रग कंपनी को दोष दे रही है, क्या ये पूरे हॉस्पिटल सिस्टम को, एक सिस्टम जो है उसको दोष आज देगी?
सब दोषी है, कोई कोई सफाई नहीं है इसमें, सब दोषी है। सायरप बनाने वाली कंपनी की तो सबसे पहले
जी
वो सबसे पहले दोषी है। उनको तो मिलनी चाहिए, कड़ी सजा मिलनी चाहिए।
जी।
हमारे छोटे छोटे मासूम बच्चे, आज हम जानते हैं कि हमने कैसे बड़ा किया था उसे।
क्या आपका एक तरह से विश्वास चला गया है हमारे मेडिकल सिस्टम पर? जो माँ डॉक्टर के पास ले जाती है अपने बच्चे को और फिर उसी बच्चे को वो देखती है कि कुछ दिनों बाद, कुछ हफ्तों बाद उनकी मौत हो जाती है, क्या आपका सिस्टम पर विश्वास चला गया है?
जी बिल्कुल, सिस्टम पे से तो विश्वास ही उठ गया है। स्वास्थ्य विभाग क्या कर रहा था?
फीवर जब आया पहली बार और जिस दिन उनकी मौत हुई, कितने हफ्ते गुजर गए उस बीच में, एक हॉस्पिटल से दूसरे हॉस्पिटल जाने में, और इस पूरे कितने दिन लगे?
जी उसे 25 अगस्त को पहली बार बुखार आया था, तो हमने 31 तारीख को डॉक्टर के पास लेके गए थे। फिर 6 तारीख को हमने नागपुर लेके चले गए उसे। टोटल हमको 1 से 2 हफ्ते लग गए थे।
जी। और किसी डॉक्टर ने कोई डॉक्टर ये नहीं बता सका शुरुआत में कि आपके बेटे को असली चीज क्या हुई है? सभी डॉक्टर ने एक तरह से, खास करके छिंदवाड़ा में, अपने हाथ खड़े कर दिए, क्या ये सही है?
जी उन्होंने तो हाथ खड़े कर दिए थे। हाथ खड़े की तो बात छोड़ दीजिए, उन्होंने तो इतनी लापरवाही से रात को बॉटल लगा दी और छोड़ दिए बच्चे को बेड में। पूरी नाइट वो बच्चा वैसे ही तड़पते रहा। सुबह हुई, 12 बज गया, हमें वहां का इलाज समझ में नहीं आया, तो हमने हमारे बच्चे को निकाल लिया वहां से और नागपुर लेके चले गए।
आज जो है आपकी आवाज, मैं चाहता हूं कि सरकार तक पहुंचे, उन जो निर्णय लेते हैं उन तक पहुंचे कि कुछ ना कुछ बदलाव चाहिए, कि इस तरह की अगर मेडिसिन लोगों को दिए जाए, जहर दिया जाए तो क्या होता है। आखिर में कुछ आप कहना चाहेंगे? आप मां हैं, आपकी पीड़ा हम समझ सकते हैं मैम, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगी आखिर में?
देखिए लापरवाही तो सभी तरफ से हुई है, बच्चे की जान भी जा चुकी है और हमने कैसे उसका इलाज पानी कराया, कितनी दौड़ भाग की उसके पीछे, उसके बाद भी हमारा बच्चा हमको नहीं मिल सकता।
जी।
गलती तो पूरे सिस्टम की
अफसाना
है।
जी, आपने हमसे बात की, जैसे मैंने कहा जी, आपने हमसे बात की। हिम्मत लगती है ऐसे समय में बात भी करना, पर आपने हमसे बात की, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मैम, थैंक यू वेरी मच। Okay, we just heard from a bereaved mother. Let's now turn to another special guest. I'm joined by Prashant Reddy. He's co-author of the book, The Truth Pill, that exposed the lid of drug regulation in India. Appreciate your joining us, Prashant Reddy. When you first heard about these deaths of children who had consumed a particular cough syrup, what was your first reaction?
I mean, I was saddened, but I wasn't surprised because this is the 9th such incident that we've had since 1972. And this just seems to keep repeating itself. I mean, the last set of tragedies that we had was in 2022 and 2023, where 70 children died in Gambia, 65 children died in Uzbekistan, another 12 died in Cameroon, all because of cough syrups manufactured from India. And since then, we've known that there is a problem, because when the government introduced a mandatory testing requirement for exports, 100 companies' samples failed testing. And that's published in the news. The Economic Times had carried a story on it last year. So we knew that there was a rampant problem with cough syrups, but we didn't see any systemic steps being taken to protect the domestic market and, patients in India.
So specifically, where is the problem? Here you've got a company which is operating virtually out of a tin shed. There's a sense that it's involved in cost cutting when it comes to drug formulations. Where is the problem in this entire chain? Is it with the regulator? Is it with the companies? At what stage is the system throwing up, unfortunately, drugs that simply don't meet up to recognized standards?
The issue is definitely systemic, and it spans both the industry and the regulator, because our drug regulatory system was designed in 1940, and we have just built certain layers of additional regulation. But our system is fundamentally outdated to deal with this kind of regulation, to deal with the growth of the pharmaceutical industry in India. But a good starting point to understand where the problem is to ask the Tamil Nadu drug inspector to show inspection reports of this particular agency, because every facility is supposed to be inspected at least once a year. Even if that yearly inspection doesn't happen, there should have been an inspection every couple of years. So we need to find out how was this plant running in such a ramshackle state if it was being inspected regularly.
But could this be just one consignment of cold fit, or do you believe it's much more than that? In this case, one consignment which reached Madhya Pradesh's Chhindwara appears to have been the deadly toxic cough syrup. Do you believe it's just a consignment, or it's much wider than that? This could be today Chhindwara, it could be any other part of the country tomorrow.
No, I'm pretty sure it's going to be wider than this, because we've seen previous tragedies, the way they play out. Because until the government identifies the supplier of the contaminated ingredient, which in this case is propylene glycol, the propylene glycol supplied by the chemical trader to this particular company in Tamil Nadu was likely supplied even to other manufacturers. And if even they fail to do similar testing as the Tamil Nadu manufacturer, chances are this contaminated ingredient has gotten into several more consignments of cough syrups, which is why the first response right now should be a public health response, wherein you can wait for prosecutions fixing accountability later, but the government should focus on tracking down every contaminated consignment of cough syrup and make sure that they're pulled from the market as quickly as possible, as well as identify other patients who may have consumed this cough syrup, but where the doctors have not yet detected that it is contaminated. We know the Chhindwara case makes a difference because 12 children together died in a cluster. But there will be other cases where, one or two children have consumed this cough syrup in different localities, and the doctors will not even realize that this is a contamination issue over here, because it's very, very difficult to diagnose a death because of DEG poisoning, which is what has happened over here.
Mr. Reddy, the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, or CDSCO, I found interestingly in a stunning display of complacency, initially declared just on Friday that the tests had found no contamination in the syrups that were being linked to the deaths. Even a Ministry of Health statement that I saw on October 3rd seemed to suggest that various samples collected in coordination with the state authorities contained, none of the samples contained diethylene glycol. So am I to understand that there is something fundamentally wrong with the way in which the body operates, that there is either lack of transparency or no accountability, or indeed that there is just weak enforcement?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's definitely been an attempt here to cover up, because we now know the test reports are publicly available, that Tamil Nadu knew on October 2nd that the samples were contaminated. And on October 3rd, the ministry was putting out these misleading press releases through a news agency. Now, this is a systemic problem with the industry. This is with the regulator and the industry. We saw this happen even in 2022 after the tragedy in Gambia, where when the World Health Organization first put out an alert, the then Drug Controller General put out a very coarsely worded letter accusing the WHO of tarnishing the image of the drug industry. They also sent my co-author and me a legal notice calling us anti-national because we gave an interview to India Today, coincidentally, on certain issues pertaining to that tragedy. So the reflex reaction of the bureaucracy generally in these tragedies is to try and cover up and protect itself from further scrutiny. And this is reflective of the larger political economy of the pharma industry, wherein for about the last 30, 40 years, the political signal sent to the regulator is please ensure that the pharma industry grows. The focus has not been on quality control, and trying to take apart that kind of mindset in the government is very, very difficult. The first attempt is to always protect the industry.
Linked to that, I am again stunned. In 2023, the Lok Sabha passed the Jan Vishwas 2023 bill, which effectively diluted the provisions that would ensure strong criminal action against pharmaceutical bodies and hold them accountable for substandard medicines. Instead, what I see is that it has decriminalized provisions and actually said that you will only have to go through a monetary fine of rupees 1 lakh. So it seems as if the pharmaceutical industry has got now huge leeway. These are profit-making companies, many of them very large, and therefore at the cost of the patient, it's the pharma companies who in some way have become non-accountable. Would I be right in saying that?
Yes, Mr. Sardesai, you're absolutely right. In fact, the government introduced this Jan Vishwas bill just 2 months after the tragedy in Gambia. That is around the last week of December 2022 is when they had introduced this bill. And despite my co-author and me trying to, point out, at least we wrote in newspapers pointing out that this is an, absolutely insane way to go about regulating the pharmaceutical industry, that you can't decriminalize one set of offenses. They went ahead and did it. And the Ministry of Health, in fact, they tried again to obfuscate the issue. There was, spreading press releases and WhatsApp groups for journalists trying to discredit us. But it went through. Now, to be clear, this kind of case of, adulterated cough syrups is still a criminal offense under the law. They can't get away with this particular case. But there are several other instances where, for example, a drug may not have enough active ingredient or may fail a sterility test, which can also kill, by the way. In Karnataka, we lost 5 young mothers in November last year because of sterility issues. Those kind of offenses have been decriminalized. The first offense has been decriminalized in the sense that if you get caught the first time, you can pay a fine of 20,000 rupees and get away with it. It's not even a lakh, by the way. It's just 20,000 rupees.
So in a way, of course, we don't want to generalize and say all pharmaceutical companies do it. But as we are seeing, there are smaller ones who are clearly cutting corners and their drugs are proliferating in many ways across markets. In conclusion, therefore, if there was one thing that you would recommend today to ensure that tragedies like this, which were presumably avoidable, do not recur, I go back to even the JJ tragedy that took place all those years ago in Mumbai, where again, several people died for consuming the same drug for which young children have died today in Madhya Pradesh. That was in Mumbai. I ask you, what is that one thing you would like to see changed?
The one thing I would like to see change is more transparency. For example, if a manufacturing facility is inspected by a drug inspector, the inspection report should be publicly available. Other countries do it. There's no reason we can't. You can redact it to protect commercial information, but the rest of the report should be publicly available. Similarly, testing reports, right? The government does a lot of random sampling and testing of drugs from the market and its labs. Those test reports need to be publicly available in a public database, which is accessible and which people can search. Because even when, for example, big hospitals, big government, departments are procuring drugs, they have absolutely no way to verify the antecedents of a company from which they are purchasing drugs. And the information is available. It is just locked up in government files and government computers. They don't make the information publicly available. What's the point of spending all this money on drug inspectors, doing these tests and inspections, and then not sharing the information with the public?
Well, those are very prophetic. I hope those words are being listened to by someone within our governmental system. You need to de-bureaucratize it, make it more transparent, and ensure stricter enforcement surely in the future. I appreciate your joining us here, Mr. Reddy, here on the news today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And all I can assure our viewers is these are the stories that we will put right on top. This country needs better drug regulation. 16 innocent children died because they consumed a toxic and poisonous cough syrup. Simply unacceptable. And because it happened in Chhindwara, maybe it hasn't evoked the kind of public outrage it would have had this happen in any of our metro cities. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about something else as well tonight. Today marks 2 years since that terrible Hamas terror attack on Israel, which has sparked off a war in which thousands of people have died. This is a day which is both solemn to remember and also ask ourselves the costs of war. Remember, it was on October 7, 2023, when Hamas killed at least 1,200 Israeli civilians. A memorial took place today exactly at 6:29 a.m. when those killings took place. But since then, Israel has launched a war on Gaza. A war, remember, in which more than 67,000 Palestinians have been killed, including 20,000 children. The Israelis will also claim on their side that 251 people were taken hostage by Hamas. Only 48 are believed to be alive. In Palestine, there is a famine of sorts, at least in the Gaza Strip. There are accusations made by the Gazans is that they are struggling to get food. Various international agencies have stepped in. Some have even used the word genocide to describe what's been happening in Gaza. All of this, of course, amidst negotiations that have begun between Israeli and Hamas representatives in Egypt, in Cairo, backed by US President Donald Trump. The big question, of course, will the war in Gaza cease? Can someone say enough is enough in one of the longest wars in the Middle East that we have seen, certainly since the 1940s? I spoke on these issues to the Palestinian ambassador to India to get his side of the story, because the Palestinian story has often been lost in the last 2 years. I want you to listen to this special conversation. You're joining us at a time when it's exactly 2 years since October 7, 2023, the dreadful Hamas terror attacks in Israel, and then what happened in Gaza over the last 2 years, hundreds of lives lost. Now we see Hamas and Israeli negotiators in Egypt, possible ceasefire. Do you see a light at the end of a very dark tunnel, Mr. Ambassador?
Thank you so much indeed, dear Rajdeep, for having me this day, and at large to extend many thanks to India today. But as ambassador of Palestine, of course, and it's a moral, it's illegal, and it's legitimate to at least to shed light on your introduction. Two things. You said the terror attack, which is, it's of course, I will not go to say or to put the wording in your mouth, whether it is terror or not terror attack. It's yours.
No, 1 minute. No. Are you denying that there was a terror attack when more than 1,000 innocent Israeli civilians were killed, sir, on October 7, 2023? You can't deny that, surely.
You claim this is a terror attack, but what happened in Gaza, you did not mention whether it is war crimes. According to what did the ICC already declared it's a war crime, it's a genocide. According to what the United Nations itself declared it's a genocide, Amnesty itself it's declared it's a genocide. You did not shed light on the wording of genocide, but you shed light on the issue of terror attack, whether it is terror or not terror, just to remind ourselves with your history as Indian people.
No, so should we accept that October 7, 2023 was a terror attack conducted by Hamas, and what Israel has done in Gaza is a war crime, the killing of innocent civilians?
No.
Are we going to draw an equivalence Is that what?
You did not mention this is a war crime.
I said thousands of innocent civilians have died.
But you did not mention this is a war crime or genocide, which is, again, it's sure by the end of the day, I'm here to, of course, to answer your question, but just to borrow something of from your recent history as Indian people, 1919 or mid-1930s, when they accused the great Indian martyr Bhagat Singh of being terror.
Bhagat Singh, yes.
Yes. If you're going to analyze what did Bhagat Singh, who's launched with his colleagues, with his comrades, the resistance, the military resistance against the British colonization at that day. If you're going to analyze this event as isolated from at least Jallianwala Bagh at that time, 1919. If you're going to analyze it without linking it to its root, it will be a terror attack. But if you're going to analyze it in its historical background, we should find another name to this. To what did at least Bhagat Singh mention at that day? So that, again, October 7th is a fact. It happened. But how to classify that? If you're going to classify it as a terror attack, what you're going to classify the Israeli occupation? 56 years of suffocating Israeli occupation.
Are you seeing light at the end of a dark tunnel? US President Donald Trump on Truth Social Media has said he expects good news, very good news in a few days. Do you see this now as a good sign that we could actually have a ceasefire in place, possibly as early as next week, wherein the 20-point plan that the US president has put in place could be implemented? Do you believe it's a workable plan that will lead to a ceasefire?
Another very, very key question, but one very important...
If you can respond to this
Yes, of
first.
course. One very important issue. Is it ceasefire? Ceasefire mean, according to the international law, this is not our word. According to the international law, ceasefire or disarmament mean that there is two armies fighting against each other, which is utterly, totally is not the case in Gaza. This is a war launched by many Western countries at the hand of Israel, by Israel, of course, with the full support and complicity by many Western countries, full support and complicity by many Western countries on Gaza. This is not a war between two arms. We should be extra careful when we're using the word, so that there should not be using of the word ceasefire. But unfortunately, in a world where a might create right, we have no other choice except to use the word ceasefire.
Can I use the word peace? Because this is a peace plan.
The war.
I want your response to the peace plan. Do you believe that this is a workable peace plan that can bring some kind of enduring peace? I'm using the word peace to Gaza by ending this relentless attack on your land.
With all due respect to Mr. Trump, he did not call it a peace plan. It's a comprehensive plan to end the conflict in Gaza. So it's not a peace plan. But from our point of view, of course, we used to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Our official position, we are with any honest and any decent effort that will stop the genocide, the ongoing genocide on Gaza. This is from day one. We are with any effort, genuine effort and real effort that will guarantee there is no more children will be died due to malnutrition or suffering of lack of food. We are with any effort that will guarantee there is no more surgery will going to be conducted without anesthesia, and there is sufficient and enough amount of painkiller to the people in Gaza. We are with all of these efforts. Beside, of course, what did Mr. Trump put on the table can lead us to stop at least the carnage. But when it came to the peace, no, there is a big difference between the plan to stop the carnage that Mr. President Trump put it in the table and the peace itself, because the plan did not touch the two-state solution. The plan did not touch, which is our legitimate concern. But this plan can put an end to the carnage, and we are fully endorsing it.
Okay, interesting. You're saying, therefore, for long-term enduring peace, you need a two-state solution, a recognition of the rights of the Palestinian people to have their own nation. That's
self-determination.
Of self-determination, that is the long-term solution. In the short term, the Trump plan wants an international stabilization force in the Gaza, which will be possibly overseen by several individuals, including America and President Trump and the United Nations. The Israelis will withdraw from the Gaza Strip, although they've not committed to that. And the Palestinians and the Hamas will agree to disarm itself, which again they've not agreed. In your view, is disarming Hamas and Israel withdrawing from Gaza a precondition, including, importantly, the release of hostages? Do you agree that hostages must be released? Just as you've spoken of war crime and genocide in Gaza, do you agree disarmament of Hamas, return and release of hostages is a precondition or not?
When it came to the hostages itself, there are two types of hostages. 11,000 Palestinian hostages in the Israeli jail and concentration camp, and I'm pretty sure no one know about them. The vast majority of the international community and the people did not know that there are 11,000 Palestinian hostages in the Israeli jail. But again, when it came to the Israeli hostages themselves, our official position that declared from the day, the first hour, they should not be taken from scratch. They should be returned to their homes, to their family. Yesterday,
Let me reiterate that.
Yes.
You are saying your official position is that the 48 hostages, 20 of whom are hopefully alive, should be returned at once to their homes. Am I correct?
We pray to God, all of them to be alive.
And they should be returned.
They must, not should. And they should not only, they must not be even taken from scratch.
This is not part of some kind of quid pro quo or deal.
No, this is our...
This is your stated position.
This is our declared, President Abbas declared loud and
But do you have the power over, over Hamas to do that?
Could you give me
Yes.
that chance? You asked me about our position. Our position when it came to the hostages, no one should be taken from scratch. When it came to the disarming Hamas, I really thank you to. This is again our position long time ago, before the war itself. We used to call for one legitimate security for us. We are not, and our official position, we will even, our state, we want a disarmament state. Declared position, written position. The one who stood strong against disarming Hamas is the current fugitive from justice, Benjamin Netanyahu. And I'm going to tell you why. He is the one who's supporting Hamas by all the means to have, by the money itself. Hamas was supported by, with all due respect to Qatar, through the cash money in bags. And the one who facilitated this money with his full agreement and his full permission is Benjamin Netanyahu.
What has the last 2 years been like? Give us a Palestinian perspective, because I know many Palestinians say we only give the Israeli perspective. I'm asking you today, what have the last 2 years been like for the people of Gaza?
Indeed, when you how did you articulate the wording? Because again, the wording have a meaning. My family is living in a refugee camp in Gaza, so that we are refugee. We have still our title deeds for our land, Berga, is still with us, and our original key. Because again, wording have a meaning. Then you said that I claim. This is not my wording. 66,000 Palestinian whom was killed is innocent Palestinian. You will going to say, no, part of them is Hamas. Could Israel bring us just one name of the declared name? It's declared, the name is declared, but just to say that this is Hamas out of the 60s. Then when you mention,
you're saying all these 60,000 who've been killed are innocent. They have nothing to do with Hamas.
Could Israel just to point out this name or this name?
They've given names of various Hamas commanders who've been killed.
Is it the declared name by the Minister of Health? This is the question. And the other issue, you said that many of them is, no, 75% of them is women and the children. It's not many, because saying many, it means 5%, 10%, 75%.
Do you believe that India has a role to play?
India used to have a role.
Not anymore?
Okay, no, you cannot cut me here because
Yes.
you're gonna put me in a very difficult. India used to had a role in the Palestinian revolution mid-1930. India still have a role, and India, we look to India as the big brother, as India, who can hang the balance when it came. I served in the United Nations 8 years when India there and said our digda it is heals, and said it should. India there. So we look to India. We still work with India. India still invested heavily in the two-state solution. India not only recognized the state of Palestine, India is still supporting the Palestinian people in
Do
the
you
ground.
sense, though, that the Narendra Modi government has a pro-Israel tilt?
No, I will not say. You cannot put, I'm not a political commentator to say that, but I can talk about what did His Excellency, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is doing to the Palestinians. Just 2 weeks ago, or less than 2 weeks ago, India voted in favor of another resolution to endorse the two-state solution.
My final question, do you trust, do you have equal trust in President Trump and the United States? Do the people of Palestine trust Donald Trump when he says, I have a plan?
The only thing that right now on the table is Mr. Trump's plan, or comprehensive plan, so to speak. Our official position, we already welcomed it, we already endorsed it, and we will go to support it as long as it will put an end to this.
The reason I asked about India and then about President Trump was because do you feel, and I want an honest last answer from you, do you feel let down by the international community? Do the Palestinians feel let down?
To some extent, we feel that the international community have many to do to stop the carnage and did not do it.
Okay. I'm going to leave it there, Your Excellency. I appreciate you joining me here on the news today. Remember, we'll have a full show of this entire interview. It's an extended interview on our global website, India Today Global. Don't miss that on the news today. Welcome back to our top political story today. It was meant to be a visit by two BJP leaders, one an MP, the other an MLA, to flood-hit North Bengal. Instead, it's turned into a bloody confrontation and an escalatory war of words, this time between the centre, Prime Minister Modi on one side, and the state government of Mamata Banerjee. Why is this turning into such a bloody confrontation of sorts? That's our top political story. Take a look.
A day after the attack on the BJP MP Khagen Murmu and MLA Shankar Ghosh in Nagrakata, where they had gone to inspect flood damage, another BJP MLA, Manoj Kumar Oraon, is targeted in Alipurdwar. The BJP is accusing the ruling TMC of orchestrating the attacks on its leaders. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday night called the attack on Khagen Murmu and Shankar Ghosh outright appalling and described the law and order situation in the state under the TMC government as pathetic. He added that the TMC was more focused on indulging in violence than helping the affected. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee hit back, accusing Prime Minister of politicizing a natural disaster and blaming the Bengal government and TMC without a shred of verified evidence, legal inquiry or administrative report.
All are working hard to rescue the people and for restoration work. Then can he believe the only party report? Is it the proper time? Yes, politics, you have the time 365 days. But don't do the politics at the time of crisis.
The attacks have sparked a full-blown political showdown.
बीजेपी के सांसद, बीजेपी के एमएलए एक कॉन्वॉय 10 गाड़ियों को लेके केंद्रीय सिक्योरिटी फोर्स लेके पहुंच जाते हैं बिना कोई रिलीफ के। हाथों में कुछ नहीं है लोगों को देने के लिए, लेकिन पहुंच जाते हैं जिससे कि फोटो खिंचवा सके। वो जो लोग थे वहां जो पीड़ित थे, ये उनके तरफ से ही रिएक्शन था।
खागेन मुर्मू जी और एमएलए शंकर घोष के ऊपर हमला हुआ, ये किस लिए हुआ? हम लोग तो वोट मांगने नहीं आए आज, राजनीति का सवाल ही नहीं है। पीड़ित का सहारा देने के लिए, उनका साथ देने के लिए, उसको हालत पूछने के लिए ममता बनर्जी क्यों पहाड़ में नहीं आया?
Meanwhile, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee visited the injured BJP MP Murmu in hospital. She also called for peace.
जब कोई खराब टाइम आता है तो उसको कुल्ली मैनेज करने होता है। गुस्सा करने से कुछ फायदा नहीं होता है। कोई कोई आदमी तो भड़काता है, लेकिन अब भड़काइए मत। जो लोग भड़काता है वो कुछ करते नहीं है, देते भी नहीं है।
Governor Ananda Bose, who also met the BJP lawmakers, blamed the state police.
It's very shocking that all this happened in the presence of the police. Police are supposed to uphold the Constitution of India and the rule of law, but they are conniving that or not doing their duty. This is a very sad state of affairs. Stern action will be taken against this culprit.
As politics rages, Bengal's hills reel under tragedy, with 23 dead from landslides and floods, and relief still struggling to reach many. A state in crisis, pole-bound Bengal has become a political battleground. With Rajesh Saha, Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let's turn from politics to our other story today. Today was the 25th Silver Jubilee anniversary of the Fiki Frames Media Summit. And the keynote speaker was India Today's Arun Puri, editor-in-chief and chairman of the group. Mr. Puri used the occasion to speak on a variety of subjects in a no-holds-barred speech on disruption, regulation and the ever-evolving media landscape, including calling out the billionaire news channel owners who have little commitment to journalism, he said. Listen in to what he had to say.
May I please invite on stage Mr. Arun Puri, founding chairman and editor-in-chief, the India Today Group.
At the Silver Jubilee of the prestigious Fiki Frames, India Today Group Editor-in-Chief Arun Puri delivered the media mastermind keynote address that quickly turned into a hot talking point. Mr. Puri's decades of experience attracted a thunderous applause as he put the focus on the D word, disruption.
At the end of this year, I will have been in the media business for 50 years. If there's one lesson I've learned, it is this: disruption never ends. In fact, disruption is the only constant. I began with a print magazine called India Today, which at its peak had a readership of 5 million. We have now 4 24-hour news channels, 60 robust digital, mobile, and social media entities. Today, the India Today Group's combined media reach spans 750 million viewers, readers, followers, fans, and subscribers. And India's first AI news anchor called Sana has been launched by us, who's growing in capability day by day. So as you can see, each disruption created a new opportunity.
What grabbed headlines was this moment, when Mr. Puri had an important message for the government, plain speak on the need to address content regulation.
In reality, the regulations are strangling the broadcasting industry, which provides employment for over 1.7 million people, a number that could have been much more if market forces were allowed to come into play. And in my humble opinion, in terms of the potential which what has happened and what can happen, to my mind, the government has made a mess of the broadcasting industry due to lack of foresight and regressive policies. I believe the role of the government should be to ensure a fair, level playing field, not to regulate, but to facilitate.
Mr. Puri also touched upon the current challenges for the media on the new barometer of success in a digital age.
Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter became the world's new editor-in-chiefs. They produce no journalism, but they control its distribution and monetization. Their master is the algorithm. The algorithm doesn't reward depth, accuracy, or nuance. It rewards outrage, speed, and virality. It has transformed our information ecosystem into a battleground for attention, contaminating public discourse in the process.
On platforms not being liable for content.
Frankly, I find it maddening that they are not in law treated as publishers, but only as platforms. If I publish or broadcast someone else's defamatory statement, I'm liable for defamation, but not the platforms.
And on new billionaire players in the news space.
We're now seeing the entry of large industrial houses into the news business, for whom news is not a business at all, but it is a tool of influence and access. They have deep pockets, and they're destroying the economic models of the news channels, which will be detrimental not just to profitability, but to good journalism.
Amid a rapt audience, Mr. Puri fittingly ended his address on the most important pillar of journalism, the truth.
Demanded it. The real question is, do we have the courage, imagination, innovation, resilience, and integrity to seize it? The challenge today is not just to survive the next wave of disruption, but to build a future where our journalism is just not viable, but valuable. We should not be intimidated by new technologies, but use it to tell stories in a more memorable and truthful way. In an era of post-truth, telling the truth matters even more. The future of truth in India, and indeed the health of our democracy, depends on it.
Arun Puri held up a mirror to the Indian media, confronting the hard truths and challenges facing the industry today. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let me leave you on that note. Journalism in the age of AI, post-truth, and yes, billionaire news channel owners. Let's hope the good times return. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubh Ratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.